All right. Good evening. Welcome to the September 19th, 2024 Folsom Cordova Unified School District Regular Board of Education meeting. In a moment, we'll be going into a closed session, but we'll start off with item 1, open session. Item A, call to order and roll call. Superintendent, will you call roll?
Yes. Mr. Clark.
Here.
Ms. Larrett.
Here.
Ms. Lofthouse. Mr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Huey.
Here.
Please note for the record that Trustee Lofthouse is absent.
Great, thank you, Superintendent. And on to item B, announcements of items to be discussed in closed session. As I mentioned, we'll be going to closed session in a moment where we will discuss any of the following student matters, including item 1, expulsion recommendation, case number 2425-1S, employer-employee relations, conference with legal counsel, conference with real property negotiators, and personnel matters. We will give time to public comments for closed session agenda items only right now. I don't see any in-person comments. There are none online. In that case, we will be recessing to closed session and be back at 6 p.m. To the September 19th, 2024 FCUSD Regular Board of Education meeting. We are on to item 6, open session. We'll start with our land acknowledgement and pledge of allegiance, starting with student board member.
As the Folsom Cordova Unified School District, we acknowledge that our administrative facilities and schools occupy the unceded territory of the Nishinan and Miwok, the original people of the skies, land, and waters where we work and learn.
We also recognize the presence and the ancestral stewardship of the Nishinan ancestral tribes and the Esto, Nato Muse, and Nisim Peiwanon to the north.
And the Miwok ancestral tribes and the Amachumne, Kasumne, Halopumne, and Mokulumne to the south along the Great Sacramento River system since time immemorial.
We understand that this land, upon which our institutions are built, was once flourishing with natural resources and sustained by the ancestral knowledge and practices of those indigenous communities.
We acknowledge the injustices of colonialism and attempted genocide that have impacted these communities and recognize the resilience of their descendants who continue to thrive today.
In our daily endeavors of teaching, learning, leadership, and community engagement, we commit to supporting, respecting, and honoring their culture, traditions, and life ways.
We pledge to work together for the evolving vision of the Miwok and Nishinan, especially all future generations.
Thank you. If you'll please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I believe I called this item 6, but it is item 4, just a point of order. On to item 4C, broadcast statement. A broadcast and recording is being made at the direction of the board, and the broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Folsom Cordova Unified School District Board Policy 1313 promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among employees, parents, and the public. We will treat staff, parents, and members of the public with respect and ask the same in return. If any member of the public uses obscenities or communicates in a demanding, loud, insulting, and/or demeaning manner, the board will calmly and politely admonish the person to communicate civilly. Public comments during board meetings are an important component of public engagement and transparency. Members of the public will not be permitted to yield their speaking time to another member of the public. No public written comment was received prior to today's board meeting. Per the Brown Act, the board is not allowed to enter into a two-way discussion on any matter not on the agenda. On to item D, roll call. Superintendent, will you call roll?
Of course, Ms. George.
Here.
Mr. Merrill.
Here.
Mr. Clark.
Here.
Ms. Larrett.
Here.
Ms. Lofthouse. Mr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Huey.
Here.
Please note for the record, Trustee Lofthouse is absent.
Thank you. On to item 5, reporting out closed session. We do not have any items to report out of our closed session. So that brings us to item 6, adoption of agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Clark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Larrett. Superintendent?
Ms. George.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Ms. Larrett.
Aye.
Mr. Reed.
Aye.
Mr. Hui?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. And then on to item 7, agenda consent. All items listed on a consent agenda will be acted upon by one motion without discussion. Should any trustee or other person request that any item be considered separately, that item will be pulled for discussion and action. I will be taking public comment for any consent agenda item that anybody would like to speak on at this point. I don't have any public comments in person. Are there any online? No. Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion from the board to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item F, approve expulsion recommendation, case number 2425-1S.
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Reed. Is there a second?
Aye.
Second by Ms. George.
Abstain.
Second.
Yeah.
I second.
Second by Ms. George. Okay. So motion to approve consent agenda and second by Ms. George with the exception of item F. Superintendent, will you call roll?
Ms. George?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Ms. Larrett?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Hui?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. And I did ask for item F to be removed so that our student board members could abstain from this item. So it's item F, approve expulsion recommendation, case number 2425-1S. We won't be taking any questions or comments from the board on this because it's an expulsion recommendation. So with that, do we have a motion from the board to approve the item?
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Larrett. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Reed. Superintendent?
Ms. George?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Sorry,
Abstain.
point of order here. I'm going to come back to Ms. George.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
We'll get this right. You ready?
we get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abstain.
Thank you. Mr. Merrill?
Abstain.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Ms. Larrett?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Hui?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, thank you. Okay, and then to item 8, special presentations. I believe we do not have any presentations from our students or from our staff tonight under this item. So we'll move on to item 9, public comment. Time will be given to speakers at the discretion of the board chairperson. The law allows the public to address the board on any matter not on the agenda, but the law prohibits action by the board on non-agenda items. Also want to make, because we do have a few information items tonight, if anybody would like to make a public comment on anything that's on the information item, this would be the time to do so. We won't be taking public comment during those items. So we will start with our in-person comments. We have Earl Smith followed by Faith Smith. Faith Smith followed by Earl Smith. Sure. Welcome, Faith.
Hi, my name is Faith, and I think this is the 4th time I've spoken up here. All the times I've spoken have been about my experience at Folsom High School, but I've mentioned that there are people I know that have had a similar experience. On May 9th, my freshman year, Ms. Williams forced a student to admit that they could not afford something for their instrument. It costed about $300 and apparently was causing a problem for the piece we were playing. She only mentioned this on May 9th, the day before our final concert of the year. Not only did she make the student admit that they could not afford it, she also picked on them the entire class time. And then she threatened to remove them from the piece that was, she threatened to remove them from playing on that specific piece, all because they couldn't afford something. The summer after that year, me, the student, my dad, and the principal met twice. An important thing to mention is that at this point, the audition results had already come out for 2023 to 2024 school year. This situation was one of the topics of these meetings. This student asked Mr. Cadenhead if they could remain anonymous so that Ms. Williams wouldn't retaliate. That was the only reason he asked to stay anonymous. Mr. Cadenhead said that he talked to Ms. Williams after finding out about it and to not do that to other students. But Ms. Williams started to treat the student differently and complain about normal things that they were doing the year following those meetings. In March of 2024, auditions were conducted for 2024 to 2025 school year, and in May, the results were posted. This student was the only senior in the jazz program that wouldn't get the opportunity or choice to go to JEN, the Jazz Education Network. Now, that is not a coincidence. Of course, now because of last board meeting, they will all get to go, but this student won't get to perform. That was Miss Williams' choice. They're the only senior who will not get to perform. It's their last year, their last chance, and they were originally not going to be given an opportunity to go, but now they also can't perform. What teacher denies their student from learning? That defeats the purpose of a teacher. I was also denied the chance to learn as well. I wanted to go to Jen, and now because of this teacher, I'm not sure if I will ever be able to go. And now these students get to go because of us. They get to go because of the very thing they were bullying me for. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. Excuse me. Earl Smith, welcome.
Good evening, Board, President Huey, Mr. Swanson. I'm better. I just want the Board to consider how unselfish we are. Uniform complaint described me as an angry black man who goes screaming and hollering at the school. Yet I'm still here. We are here, standing up for another student who attempted and did speak up on behalf of Faith. That student was clear they wanted to be anonymous, and the only reason they were in that meeting was to support Faith. They did not want to speak. Mr. Cadenhead made him. I was surprised to see a principal address a student this way. However, he too said he was not in agreement with the actions by Mrs. Williams. There's 2 seniors in the B band. One of the seniors was bullying Faith, but that senior is in the jazz choir. So regardless, that senior was getting to go to Jen. That leaves this other senior who spoke up about the situation with himself to Mr. Cadenhead, not going to get to go. How unfair is that? That student has been in the district since the 4th grade. He has had 9 years of experience on his instrument. He's also been playing in 2 community jazz band and a regular concert band outside of school. And he's not good enough to be in the A band? The other student was bullying Faith. I too think that student was good enough to be in the A band. I don't think it's fair that they don't get to go to Jen and not get to play. This is not a competition. It's not. So they're just going to play. If you think about most of the high schools, when you get to high schools, when you start an instrument. So regardless of it, our students in this district will be way superior than most schools. It doesn't matter who the teacher is in the jazz band at Folsom High. The kids are still going to perform at top level because this district provides the group lessons 4th and 5th grade twice a week. Other schools who do provide that only provide it once a week. And then 3 years in the middle school, this student was in the jazz band and the regular concert band in the middle school. I'm about to file something this evening. I want the board to consider you no longer have jurisdiction over Faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, that's it for our in-person comments that I have. Do we have any online? There are none online. All right, moves us to item 10, reports of district organizations, starting with our student advisory board.
Hello, everyone. We had a wonderful first meeting with over 70 students at Cordova High School. We went over the role of an SAB member, the role of a board member and a student board member, and how important they are to the communication between students and board. We brainstormed some potential events to host, including an international night, some new school climate issues to tackle, and some new roles for students to participate in this year. Last year, we only had a secretary, and I was looking to open it up to more roles so people in the SAB can feel more involved. We also toured Cordova High's beautiful campus and got to stop by our academy classes. I think the kids really liked that. We kind of had like an ending conclusion, and they were all raising their hand for the classes that they enjoyed, and it made me very happy because I love to show off my high school. Overall, I think it was a great success, and I'd like to thank our advisors, our Cordova Link leaders for providing the tour, and Mr. Anklem for making everything run incredibly smoothly.
So the board meeting went not the board meeting, the SAB meeting went very, very well. And it was obviously at Cordova this meeting. And because I don't go to Cordova High, I got to see all the academy programs, and I learned a lot more about what IB is because Folsom High has AP, and we got to see their nursing program and their business school, and the business school has like super cool printer, and like all the stuff that they do in that classroom, the students get scholarships for that, and it goes out to the community. And we saw the engineering classes, the CTE department, and we just saw the school, and it was super cool, and everyone was super welcoming, and all the link leaders, they led all of us and just showed us. And one thing I remember that Van said is that Cesar Chavez actually came and spoke on the campus. So that was very cool, and it was super cool that we get to see all the different campuses this year.
Thank you, Mr. Merrill, Ms. George, much appreciated. California School Employees Association.
Evening, board members and Superintendent Swanson. MOUs 24 from the end of last year. 1 and 2 will be up for ratification at the chapter meeting Wednesday, 25th of next week. Nothing else to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Folsom Cordova Education Association.
FCA has no report tonight.
Thank you. Folsom Cordova Leadership Association.
Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Swanson, good evening. Board President Hui, good evening. And members of the board, I am honored tonight to introduce Principal Amy Strawn and Grace Stockert and all of her amazing students from Cordova High. So come on up.
Hello, I am Ms. Grace Stockert. I'm currently working at the Teacher of Cordova's Culinary Academy and serving as the FCCLA chapter advisor. I had the privilege to travel with a group of 9 students and the wonderful parent employee, the esteemed Martha Campos, June 29th to July 3rd, representing our school's chapter on a national level in Seattle, Washington.
I'm Kamali Williams, a graduate of Cordova, class of 2024. We punched this ticket back in April where my peers and I competed at our annual state conference in Riverside and placed first or second in our respective events and levels. Now, in order to reach this point, there's so much legwork to be done. Students taking action with recognition events projects begin in the fall. In order to compete and qualify at the spring regional competition held in February, competitors must meet a qualifying score in order to move on to our state competition.
Can we do the next slide, please? At this point, you may feel like you're grappling at what are these acronyms like FCCLA. FCCLA stands for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. The ultimate leadership experience is unique among youth organizations because its programs are planned and ran by members. It is the only career and technical intercurricular student organization with a central focus on careers that support families. Participation in national FCCLA programs and chapter activities aids members in becoming strong leaders in their families, careers, and communities. Currently, this year, Camila and I are serving as regional officers that preside over our regional fall and spring meetings.
Next slide, please. Oh, I am Joey. Well, I won't. That's my nickname, Joey. My real name is Joseph. So this annual event brought together 8,000 passionate FCCLA members, FCCLA students, members, advisors, and guests. So this is where competitors could test their ultimate level, test themselves beyond whatever they thought previous, and to test out their character. Students that qualify here are the best from the states. They have qualified by placing top 2 at their competition at state and in their level. They have demonstrated that they have the skills to go to the ultimate level. These students have poured countless of hours of hard work and dedication into their competition to reach these heights. And because of that, they also get to enjoy the ultimate reward. They get the opportunity to explore a brand new city, go to different places, new stores, new restaurants, try new foods and new entertainment, all while learning much more. They get to learn how FCCLA functions, new career development methods, and how to better connect themselves to the world around them to make the world a more complete place. And this learning process is possible via the conferences and the workshops that are held at National. The workshops provide a more focused learning experience on a specific topic that a student can choose when they are available.
Slide, please. We are thrilled to share that Francesca Escobar, Furian Simbiring, Kamani Williams, Grace Kell, Jula Halcombe, and April Starr proudly represented Cordova High School in the class of 2024 at the FCCLA National Leadership Conference in Seattle, Washington, competing as 2 teams of 3 in the Event Management Star event and Hospitality, Tourism, and Recreation Star event. Both teams achieved gold medals, a testament to their outstanding performance on a national stage.
Our event management team scored 93.6 and placed it says 14th, but we placed 13th from 42 submissions in the nation. The project required hosting a minimum of 75 guests at a planned event lasting a minimum of 4 hours. We planned and produced an end-of-the-year banquets for both our Culinary Academy and our general FCCLA chapter, welcoming family and friends to share a meal and recognize the achievements of student members of this year.
My Hospitality, Recreation, and Tourism team scored 91.3, placing 20th out of 46 submissions in the nation. Our project focused on recreation and required research into careers and industries backgrounds compared to Disney or Universal theme parks. Diligently working, we produced a website for our hypothetical theme park business, Plantaria, themes around space with rides, entertainment, and food to ensure all guest experiences and needs could be satisfied.
The students' projects required organization, communication, project management, hands-on experience for event planning, customer service, and marketing. These projects have assisted in preparing them for future professional opportunities and making meaningful impact through their creative and strategic efforts. Their dedication, creativity, and commitment to making a positive impact on the lives of others were exemplified in their projects, and their accomplishment at the national level is a testament to their hard work and teamwork. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our successes with you today. Next slide, please. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer too.
All right, well, first, thank you guys so much. It's incredible to see. I just have one question for Joey. I'm not sure if you have any extra information, but for some reason, Martha Campos couldn't get a smile off of her face. Do you know anything that would be? No, I'm definitely really proud of all you guys, and I really appreciate the presentation. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'm going to tell you all how proud I am of you. And I can remember one instance. You guys went to some competition or something, and I think it was in state, but it was far away. And you guys, I remember talking to one of you, and you said that you came back at 4 or 5 in the morning. But what you did is that you showed up at Mills Middle School and presented and had your table. They thought I forgot. I'm not that old. But you guys had a table there. I mean, you guys are awesome. And I am so proud of each and every one of you all to represent Cordova the way that you did.
Great. Well, thank you all so much. Looking forward to eating these a little bit later tonight, but appreciate all your work and effort. Oh, yeah. Is it okay if we take a picture?
Yeah, of course.
Come on, Martha.
Maybe up here and then we get that.
All right, again, thank you all so much. We will move on then to our last report from District English Learner Advisory Committee.
No report this evening.
All right, they didn't want to follow that act, so I appreciate it. That moves us on then to item 11, information. I know I mentioned it earlier, but do want to remind the public, information items are really just for information, so we won't be taking public comment. If the board has some questions, certainly we can entertain those. But this isn't necessarily intended to be a discussion time, just purely information. We can always bring things back if we need to. So we'll start with item A, modernization and new construction updates, September 2024.
Yes, President Hui, the board and the public have been provided with a record of all the amazing projects that are in process, but also have been completed over the summer by our incredible classified staff that are out there every day, making sure that our school facilities are prepared for our students to return, as well as updated with anything that is needed. So you'll see in the projects, there's a lot of HVAC work and other work. We worked a lot on fences, and we did a lot around safety this I'll call it off season, the summer break. So this is just an opportunity for us to share that information with you and the public, and to kind of overwhelm, hopefully, all of you with the small but mighty team that's out there working to make sure our schools are the best in the business.
Great, thank you, Superintendent. It is overwhelming. It's quite an impressive list. Mr. Washburn, thank you to you and your team for all that's going on in here. Again, information, but if there were any questions from the board, we can take those now. All right, not seeing any. Thanks again. It is much appreciated and impressive to look through that. Item B, Folsom High School's jazz class field trip update.
Yeah, thank you, President Hui. As a reminder to the board, at our last board meeting, there were some questions. And Jim Huber went and got the answers for those questions. And those are all included in not only the rationale, but in the Gen Conference information attachment on this. So if you have any questions, but both Jim or I will be able to answer.
Any questions from the board on this item? I'm not seeing any. That brings us to item C, 2024 secondary summer school report.
Yeah, so last and certainly not least on the information items, this is a rationale and an attachment that really speaks to how we really think about supporting our students year round. And you'll see in this document that over 1,000 students in our high schools were able to attend summer school for not only credit recovery, but enrichment. And then also listed in the rationale, you see all the summer programs, the expanded learning opportunity, up to around 600 of our elementary school students did expanded learning, or often fondly referred to as ELOP. And then also what's not listed on this is that we had a Freedom School this year that hosted about 70 of our elementary school students. So this is just it's a summary. The attachment is a summary of our high school program and has a lot of data in there for you to unpack, and feel free to ask any questions today or in the future. But just a kudos to the Ed Services team to making sure that our students have an opportunity to learn year round.
Great, much appreciated. And again, as like with item A, the construction projects were impressive. It's really impressive to see how many students were being served through the summer, and the dedicated staff that put a lot of time into that. So appreciate it. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, Mr. President, if I may.
Clark.
Just curious, we were looking at Freedom School, and we were saying that, wasn't that program a little bit longer than 6 weeks? Because my recollection,
Actually, I'd have to go back and look. I'm not positive, but memory serves, I thought it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
But it didn't go the entire summer, as far as I know. But yeah, but I can get that information.
I
bring
thought
that
it
back.
concluded like 2 weeks before school started. I'm not quite sure, but I know it was extended.
Yeah, it went into July, but
Yeah.
how far it went through, I'm not positive. But I can pull that back and get that to the board.
Yeah, if you can. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Huber. Any other questions from the board or comments? Okay, not hearing any. That then moves us on to item 12, Superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you, President Hui. Real brief report today. First, I'd like to circle back to Van and Mia to talk about what an amazing job you did at the SAB meeting. I don't know where your dreams are taking you, but if you ever want to be a teacher, I know a district that would hire you, because you hire both of you. You facilitated 70 young people really, really well. I really like how you were setting the tone for the year. I really like how you solicited their voice as members of SAB about what they wanted to focus on this year, and you talked about a lot of service projects, and I'm really excited about that. And then when I left the meeting at Cordova, the first thing I did is I called Angela, but you can't call her that. You probably have to call her Mrs. Griffin or Ms. Griffin, right? To say that this SAB is a very unique thing that we have here in Folsom Cordova Unified. Not other districts have the way this looks and the uniqueness of that group, as well as what you're focused on and how to give back to the whole community and the whole school community. We're gonna make sure to have you guys on the news at some point this year. So just be ready, all right? So that's that. And then I would just like to thank the board. In one of the consent items today, you approved a facility assessment and comprehensive planning. So thank you to Matt Washburn and his team. What you approved today is our opportunity to create a facilities master plan that is really gonna guide us. It'll be a roadmap for the next 5 to 10 years. And as one of the very few districts that is growing in the state of California, us being able to be organized around the order of operations in serving our current facilities, but also building new facilities, will really support us in making the right decisions for our entire FCUSD community. So thank you. That is all for my report.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Brings us into item 13, board member committee reports. We will start with our student board members. Mr. Merrill.
I'd like to also keep it brief by, firstly, thank you, Mr. Swanson, for the kind words. I'd like to, brag a little bit about Cordova. I've recently been given the opportunity to host a German exchange student for 3 weeks. His name is Janka Matter. He's currently at my house right now. He came in on Saturday, and he'll leave on somewhere beginning of October. But I was given the opportunity by my history teacher. We have our sister school in Jottingen. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. It's somewhere in Germany. But yeah, I just want to, this is the only time I've ever heard a German, this program like this in the district. I'm very proud to be one of the 7 students hosting a German exchange student this month. So yeah, I just want to point that out, I want to brag about it, that this is something unique to our district, or I'm sure other districts have the German exchange student program, but I'm very proud of it. And maybe I'll bring him to the Wednesday board meeting and you guys can all meet him. Yeah, thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much. Ms. George.
I also don't have a lot, but I wish I was hosting an exchange student, but I don't have that much, but I'm just very excited for SAB, and that's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Ms. Larrett?
No report.
Okay. Mr. Reed?
Yes, I participated on a board committee 2x2 with the city of Folsom this past week. And actually, that was 2 weeks ago. Actually, I believe I already gave an update on that. But what I did participate in the past week is the policy committee meeting, which we reviewed 5 different policies. We reviewed board policy 9150, student board members, board policy 9220, governing board elections, board policy 9223, filling vacancies, and board policy 9323.3, actions by the board. And then we also reviewed the cell phone policy. The first 4 policies I mentioned were all recommendations that came from the California School Boards Association. So we will be seeing these back, I believe, at the next board meeting for approval. And then at the next board meeting, pursuant to the board's direction to staff, there will be several options for cell phone policy amendments at the next board meeting for discussion, I believe. So it will not be an action item. And that will range from no change to the cell phone policy to allowing school sites to make a decision, comprehensive high school sites to make a decision on a cell phone policy, all the way to extending the current cell phone ban that's in TK through 8th through 12th grade. I think the recommendation, actually there will be no recommendation, it's just simply for conversation at the board level to give additional feedback and direction to staff which will then result in presumably some additional item at a future meeting. Did I cover that correctly,
I think
Mr.
so.
President?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
The only addendum, trustee, is that the first item around student board members wasn't a CSBA recommendation because this board innovatively decided to compensate our student board members for their time at the rate of all of you. So I just wanted to make note of that because that's really a really cool and innovative thing.
Yeah.
So
Good catch.
put it in your savings, kids. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
All right, thank you. I will say that CSBA will be discussing that next weekend, so for other board members, student board members. Van, you are selling yourself short, young man. September 11th, they had the memorial to our fallen heroes for 9/11, and you know, as a veteran, it was very sombering, I guess, for me. But the speech that you gave was phenomenal, and I was so proud of you for doing that. You know, I even took a picture of the sky and did my little post, but you did a great job. And you and Mia, you know, I went to the SAB meeting, and I have never seen that many kids there that were sitting at the table and collaborating and writing down ideas and everything. I mean, you guys had that meeting going, and so congratulations to both of you for doing that. It was just a phenomenal job, and I'm so excited to see what comes out of that as far as your community activities and events. So great job, keep it up. Thank you, Superintendent, for your mojo one more week. So we're getting out pretty early. I will bring to attention to my colleagues on the board that I will not be available to meet for the meeting on the 17th of October, I believe. 17th of October. I am blessed and fortunate enough to attend a education and advocacy conference in New York. So I'm really excited about flying there and see what's going on across the nation. Other than that, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Just a couple of things from you real quick. So about October 17th, I'm looking down through our suggested future agenda items. We'll get there. But it looks like on the 17th, we do have the discussion on IYT at other secondary schools. Would you like to push that off maybe to the first November meeting, or?
Yeah, we can.
No,
I mean, because I was going to throw the option out there. I do have a 2.5 layover in Dallas that I can jump on real quick, but I might miss it.
Yeah,
So
let's not plan on that.
Yeah.
I know that would be a discussion I think you'd want to be at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, Superintendent, if we can plan that for a board meeting following the 17th.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If the staff were able to even move that up, I know we seem to be getting a lot of things pushed back. And I don't know if it's possible to move that up to the next meeting rather than push it back into November.
I'm happy to go with the will of the board. If the board could clarify, because I believe that came prior to my arrival, and Jim, I looked to you, what is the ask of that? It's just a conversation, or are we?
We're working with IYT and Earth Mama Healing just to see in terms of capacity, whether or not, because the suggestion was, why wouldn't we have those programs on the Folsom side of the district? I don't think, because looking at Rochelle, I believe by the time things are due and need to be posted, I'm not sure we'll have that data back by then to make the next meeting. So I think it's actually better to go November rather than October, unfortunately.
I don't know if this is true, but I would assume that we'd be looking at a 25, 26 start to either of those programs, in which case I don't think we should feel the urgency around that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It would definitely have to start the following school year.
Okay, great. Well, let's
Mr.
move that back.
President?
Yes.
Point of order. Is it possible that we could have the discussions for pushing the times from the future agenda items during that section?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you like me to repeat that on this one tonight, or just into the future?
In the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, brings us back then. the good reminder that we are actually on my board member report, not our future agenda items. Just very quickly, I wanted to mention, did want to call out at the policy committee that we did discuss the student board member policy. I'm always impressed with our student board members, and I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that we did, as it has been talked about, we talked about the policy about student board members to align that with our policy around board member, here we go, remuneration. All that to say, one of the things I'm always impressed with is that how you have led us in so many items. I mean, since I've been here, just a few really quick off the top of my head. We have 2 board members sitting here because we had student board members advocating for that. And that's a great change for this board. We've got a land acknowledgement in large part due to our student board members advocating for such a thing. And we have our student board members being paid, which is a pretty groundbreaking thing for districts in California because our student board members brought that to us and advocated for it. So, I just want to encourage you both, keep advocating, keep bringing things to this board because it really does make change for you and for all the students that you're interacting with. So thank you, good work. I'm excited for that. I think that comes to us at our next meeting. And that's it for my board member report. So then we're on item 14, advanced planning. Our next board meeting is we have a special board meeting on September 25th, next Wednesday, regarding our facilities. And then our next regularly scheduled board meeting is for October 3rd. We have the 12-month calendar there for you to look at. And then we're on to item C, suggested future agenda items. We've mentioned a few of these things already tonight. Again, draw attention to your fact that we will be moving that IYT meeting to a time that makes sense. So Mr. Swanson, you and your team are working on when that date would come. That would be great. And also want to comment, Mr. Reed had mentioned our communication devices board policy. It's listed on the agenda that discussion would take place October 17th. That will actually be happening October 3rd at our next board meeting. So I do want to make sure the public knows that, and in case there are people that would like to discuss this item. So October 3rd, we'll be looking at the 3 different items that Mr. Reed discussed. That's it for future agenda items that I want to draw attention to. Are there any other future agenda items that board members would like to add? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Brings us to then item 15, recess to closed session. We've finished our business during our first closed session, so we will not need to go to that. So that brings us all the way down to item 19, adjournment. Unless I hear any objections, we will adjourn. Going once, going twice. No objections, we are adjourned.